in one age, called the Third Age by some,
An age yet to come.
an age long past.
A wind rose on the Geek at Arms podcast.
The wind was not the beginning,
There are neither beginnings,
nor endings to the turning of the Wheel of Time.
but it was a beginning.
Welcome to Woolheads, a Wheel of Time podcast by Geek at Arms. I'm Brian, and here's a man that I think surely must be Taviran. It's James.
The light illume you, Brian.
And you as well, James. Wow.
Right?
This was a great episode.
I was glued to the screen. There have been a couple episodes in the past where I've been distracted either by my phone or by other inconsequential things, like dog, children. But this one,
Riveting.
very much so.
Well, welcome back to Woolheads, a Wheel of Time commentary. We spoil it all here, so if you haven't read the books or don't remember them well, watch out. And today it is The Road to the Spear.
I'm going to say best episode of the season so far.
I think best episode of the show.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I really liked season 2's finale with the whole battle at the end with the heroes of the Horn, the Seanchan. But as far as mood, feeling, aesthetic, and tightness of the entire program, I'm with you. Best episode of the series so far.
And I think it's delivered the most book accurate scenes to date.
Oh, completely agree.
As honestly, an adaptation, I'd put this right up there with Bilbo's birthday party or Gandalf facing off against Durin's Bane.
Honestly, I was so pleasantly surprised, so happily surprised at the accuracy that we got and how well it was done.
Yeah, Rand's journey through the glass columns is already like thoroughly meshed with my memories of reading The Shadow Rising.
Oh, right.
And even standing on its own, if you haven't read the books, I think it's still just a solid, great episode.
This was like a love letter to that whole series of events. I mean, the way that they portrayed it, so well done, so visceral. I mean, even just Rand walking through the haze, moving forward slowly, the sound effects, the music, the way that it was almost like a slow motion crawl forward for him. I mean, just it raised the tension level so perfectly.
And folks, this is how you do exposition, because this whole episode, well, most of this episode was a huge lore dump.
Yes.
But it comes at a speed that's easy to digest, and it doesn't bore you.
Quite the opposite. I mean, you're left wanting to know more as you see Rand jump from age to age, finding about the history of the Aiel, and also props to the makeup, hair, and costuming departments. And making him look very different in every single one, but still recognizable.
Honestly, there were a couple of times, the first time I watched it, I'm like, man, that guy really looks like the actor they got for Rand.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't think it was him. And then when I did, it's like, that's been Rand. Oh, well done. Well done indeed.
We really get to see Joshua Stradowski. Anyway. Stradowski. We really get to see his range here.
Yeah, no, he stretches his acting legs and really gives a great performance.
I liked his madness scene during Egwene's accepted trial, but it was pretty short. And so it's like, well, maybe he just really put his all into that. But seeing him play so many different characters with different temperaments, so close to each other, it was just, he is very, very good.
Yeah. I mean, there have been a time or two I've questioned, did they get the right guy for this? Like, I've banished those thoughts from my head now.
Yeah. And as an aside, when he smiles, he really resembles my childhood friend Paul. So that makes me wistful.
Oh, I loved everything about Rhuidean and the rings. Just watching it, I was like, no, do I have any critiques? Do I have anything for... No, I don't.
I do have one. The wide shots of the city, I didn't find very persuasive.
Okay. I'll allow that.
To be fair, it's a tall order to make fog in a desert look natural.
Yeah.
But even before it was covered in fog, it still didn't look great to me.
Okay. Beyond that, though, once we
Mhm.
actually get the characters of, once we get Rand and Moiraine in the city, everything from there, golden,
Yes,
golden.
I no complaints from that point forward. I don't
I
think.
also really love the touch. They didn't have to
Nope,
do
none at
this.
all.
They didn't have to do this, but I'm so glad they did. Is that once they went back to a certain point, everything from then on was all spoken in the old tongue, all dialogue.
Hmm.
I'm like that made me so happy.
Yeah, and that one particular scene where you could see that the Aiel were losing the old tongue because they
Mm-hmm.
were speaking half in English and half in old tongue, and it was like only the ritual phrases were in the old language.
Yep.
Another, since we're talking about the acting, another casting compliment. I had never seen the woman playing Moiraine before, Salome Gunder's daughter, which I guess makes her Icelandic.
Sounds about right.
She's perfect for that role. I mean, beautiful,
Yeah.
of course, as
Mm-hmm.
Moiraine was always described, and but acerbic,
Mm-hmm.
like she's resentful of her own beauty,
Yeah.
and that direct, challenging stare that she gives everyone, like she's a falcon just trying to decide whether or not she's going to eat you.
Perfect. Absolutely perfect for Melaine. Um, Speaking of Icelandic, I looked. I'm on IMDb. The gentleman who plays Ruark, Bjorn Landberg. So,
Also, a very Scandinavian name.
mm-hmm. So Bjorn, you look like a good guy. Just um, lay off the way bread. Um, I mean, shoot, we could just spend this entire episode just talking about Rhuidean or Rhuidean.
Hmm.
Rhuidean. Um, Production wise, I enjoyed the fight that we got between Avienda and Lan.
That was fun.
That was very. When Avienda says, "No one touches a sword in Rhuidean, not even you." And Lan looks at her, and I stood up. I laughed out loud. I was like, "Tear her up, Lan! Tear her up!"
Yeah, and just the little moments in the fight that showed that they were just playing with each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like Avienda going down into the splits, I'm like she would not do that in a fight.
Nope.
Or that little bit where Land just dodges the spear
Moves
with
his
his
head
head and
underneath
then
it.
rolls
Yeah.
around it. Like
See,
these are, you can tell they're not trying to kill each other.
no. First time I watched it, I was very critical of the moments between the beat and the counter beats.
Mm-hmm.
But then I watched it again and I realized they're not fighting. They're play acting.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're being serious about it. You know, especially when Lan takes one of Avienda's spears,
Mm-hmm.
shows it, twirls it in front of her, and tosses it back because he's showing her, "You're good. I'm still better. We're playing, but I can play this game better than you, young one." And as she
Yeah.
takes it, there's that look in her eye that she knows it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that not long after that, that is when uh, Bear comes up and puts a stop to it because she's like, "Nope, nope, nope. You're about to get
Yeah. She
serious, and we need to stop that
recognizes that
now."
Avienda was affronted. Yeah.
Yes, and and she's like, he's like, you. It wasn't that she was stopping Avienda because it was time for Avienda to become a wise one. She knew that she stopped it because I really don't want Land to kill you.
Yeah, and there's that whole thing about the piece of Rhuidean also.
Mm,
Like they're not allowed to actually fight with each other.
Yeah, but an affronted maiden of the spear, you know, the creator alone knows what she's going to do.
Mhm.
Oh, I mean,
I I said that I don't have much to complain about in this episode, but this
mhm.
particular topic, there was one thing that really violated my suspension of disbelief.
You and I might have had the exact same moment, but you go
There
first.
is no possible way Bear can break three
That's
spears
exactly
over
what
her
I have
knee.
written down. It's exactly what I have written down.
It's like they're what, an inch and a half in
I'm
diameter?
like, oh, how strong is she that she breaks 3 spears over her knee in a single blow. I'm like, okay, well, you know what? Balsa wood is the most prominent tree in the Waste. So I mean, they use what they use.
It just makes them even more impressive
Yeah.
that their
Right.
spears are so flimsy and they can still kill everybody with them.
Yeah, just shove it straight through a steel breastplate. Um, I'm like, okay, uh, uh, if you use the power, show using. If she had used the power to break them, that
Sure.
would have been
Yeah.
perfectly fine with that. If she had just
No, I
taken
would
one,
still not have been perfectly fine with it because there's a character implication also.
what I fair, what I think would have been better, both um, character wise and scene wise, is if like Avienda hands her one, she breaks it. Hands her the second one, she breaks
Mm-hmm.
it. Slowly and hesitantly, like this is my last spear.
And that's exactly my point. That there was only one spear breaking scene that I can remember in the books, and that was when the maidens were so insulted that Rand kept sparing them from battle that Sulan was breaking her own spears.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's the important difference, that this has to be an act of sacrifice,
Yeah,
has to come up from within. That's the whole thing about the Aiel, especially their sense of toe, that they submit themselves to the pain. And so it means nothing for Bear to break the spears, but
yeah,
everything for Avienda to give them up.
yeah. If she had just slowly done it one at a time, it would have drawn
Mm-hmm.
the scene on for a couple of seconds longer, but they would have been seconds well used
Yeah.
because you would have seen her like slowly. You could have really swelled the music, focused on that moment of Afienda, as you said, sacrificing, finally, begrudgingly and fearfully putting behind her what she was, what she loved, but taking the first step to accepting the next stage of her destiny.
Mm-hmm. And I kind of also missed maybe it would have been kind of extraneous, but in the book it's described that when a maiden has to give up her spears to become a wise one, they turn them into useful things. They melt down the spearheads. They recycle the shafts. All the leather is recycled, and they make tools, but nothing that could be used as a weapon.
Yeah.
And I think that would have been a much more interesting and moving thing than this impossible physical feat of an old woman breaking three spears over her knee.
Avienda, whatever happened to your spears? Well, one of them was made into an ear spoon to get out earwax. That thing is gigantic. It looks like a ladle. It's for Loyal.
Oh, don't want to think about the Ogier's earwax.
Moving on.
Right.
Honestly, that was all the Copland talk I had.
That's all I had too. 1 point.
So let's move on. Let's just not even like talk about it. Let's just move on to some of the better things. The very first scene that we get in this episode is Rand and Land. Bleh, Rand and Land. That's not going to be the only time I mess it up. Practicing again, which,
Mm-hmm.
yay, considering how much they practiced in the books, let's keep this theme going. Not as much, not a lot of sword fighting, but we do get some good exposition. We get some excellent character moments. Rand talking about his father teaching him about the flame and the void, talking about
Mm-hmm.
his dad's history, and some good humor as well. It's like, well, you're not a blade master yet. Not if you keep taking breaks. Let's go. And that elicited a good laugh from Rand. And we need to see him laugh. We need
Yeah.
all of the hard things that are coming for him. Let's see as many human moments from him as we can.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be important to showing the audience as he starts taking on the burdens of the leadership and the burdens of watching people die for him, how much it does harden him and how much he gets to the point where he can't laugh.
Yeah.
Because we talked about Cad Swain earlier. That's her whole thing is I have to teach this boy how to laugh again.
Listeners, if you think that Moiraine is trying to ride him and keep any type of leash on him, y'all ain't seen nothing yet.
Mm-hmm.
Lord, it's creator, light. It's gonna get weird. Um, but Also, I like Sassy Rand. You know,
Yeah.
after he and Land walk back to camp, and Avian's like, "There's no swords here." He's like, "Well, there's no swords for Aiel, but as you're very fond of telling me, I'm not Aiel. I'm a Wetlander." And I'm like, I like Sassy Rand. That's good. And I like Sassy Avienda too, especially when she tries to sass Lan. And and Lan just holds out his sword and pulls the blade out. I'm like, come on now, let's go. But speaking of blades, I also chuckled at Moraine's mini knives.
A large selection of hidden knives.
That was
I need to go back and see if there's any indication that she had that habit before she got shielded. I don't think she did.
probably not, and I could picture her as practical as Moiraine is. She got the one power back, but she decides to keep the knives.
Mm-hmm. And
And
it's cool to see how they're paying attention to her psychology in that way.
agreed. Um, and as someone who EDCs a knife every single day, I applaud her. Even like, okay, I'm gonna pull out this knife, hike up the skirt, pull out one shoe knife. Nope, there's the other shoe knife. I've got two of them. I think at that point, even the Aiel were like, okay, that's kind of impressive.
Did not expect that of the Aes Sedai. I can only imagine Egwene thinking, you know what? I'm going to start doing that too.
Yeah, seriously. Um, it's like I've said. Um, there was a great general who once said, "Always carry a pocket knife. You never know if you'll need to cut someone's throat, or there might be cheesecake."
Preferably not in that order.
Yes. And have we talked about Rhuidean yet at all? Have we touched on that?
Um,
Have we touched on
a
that?
little bit, but I have a feeling that we're going back.
Yeah. Not just an incredibly well done series of scenes. I was not expecting. I knew that the scenes where he went to the Tinkers and you
Oh, yeah.
see the first step of the Tinkers becoming Aiel. I knew that was going to be powerful. When I realized what was happening, when I remembered, recognized it from the books, I knew that this was going to hit me. But
Mm-hmm.
when his Tinker mom said, I had a son with a face like yours,
I had a son with that face.
the combination of the music, the look on Joshua Stradowski's face, I almost shed a tear.
Oh, there was no almost for me.
I mean, it was powerfully, just emotionally provocative. Not provocative, but just was an incredibly powerfully emotional scene. And it didn't give you a break because between Rand's point of view of going further back in time and every weird, this could be a good scenario, this is a bad scenario, this is the worst case scenario, nope, now that's the worst case scenario, playing out before Moraine's eyes like a kaleidoscope of awfulness.
Mm-hmm.
And the way that the scenes kept flipping on their heads over and over, like the turning of a wheel, um, it was making me dizzy almost. And I'm like, wow, this is. I'm very much reminded of the scene in The Empire Strikes Back. Your weapons, you will not need them. What will I find there? Only what you take with you. And we're reminded, friends, Moraine's got some baggage.
Mm-hmm. And this was another scene, by the way, that she talked about in that interview because she pointed out that there were 20 or 30 people who only appeared for just a second or two, and they all had unique, bespoke costumes. The costuming department just went overboard making all of these costumes for all of these people.
Well, I think after the embarrassment that was Tanchico, they really realized they had to up their game.
Maybe that was the problem in Tanchico. It was like, well, we wanted to have some great costumes, but this other scene took them all.
Exactly. Everyone who was working on this other shoot cleared out the room. I mean, we were left what we found in a dusty old, just bin, in a dusty old box, and just for that and the Goodwill. So, I mean, it's you get what you get.
Mm.
And a bunch of
There were
gauze, which we decided to slap on everyone's face. Tenchiko, everyone.
there were a couple of visions that Rand had that were uh, removed or simplified or merged with others. Like we didn't see the Kyrianan share water with the Aiel, but we did get that story from Moiraine a
Mm-hmm.
little bit earlier. And we didn't get the vision where we learned the origin of the maidens. But what we did get was one that wasn't in the book, and that was uh, Rand seeing his parents. Well, seeing through the eyes of his father
Yeah.
and getting to see his mother.
Yeah, their reunion. You know, him explaining, I found the betrayer. I killed him with my own spear. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and I could watch an Aiel fight scene all day long. I was pleased to see that. Um, but that one had me wondering. Like once I've said, my memory of the books uh, isn't as complete as yours, but I I was fairly certain that's an original scene to the show.
Yeah. Rand's first vision in the book was of Mandaean coming to Rhuidean to meet the Aes Sedai.
Gotcha. Of
Which,
the
oh, by the way, Mandaean's spear, I loved it.
yes. Hmm.
That was a really cool prop.
I really enjoyed when he went all the way back to the day of the breaking. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know. I don't. That's not what it's called. But we see, you know, Lanfear when she was an Aes Sedai in the Age of Legends. We see the giant Aes Sedai sphere in the sky. We see happy people uh, cutting down wheat stalks in song, and um, it's a happy, it's a golden time. As
Mm-hmm.
you know, I think that they had the sphere, you know, floating above a golden field of wheat. I think that imagery was done on purpose, but the sphere almost imploding, falling, and then the sky breaking.
Yeah.
That great effect, great sound effect that went
Yes.
with it.
The sound design was amazing.
Oh, it was really good for this. I mean, it fitted perfectly. It made you terrified. Like you don't want to look at this thing. Like you can't turn away from it either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the I wish we had seen Ogier in that scene, but
Yeah, that would have been good because weren't they supposed to be working with the Aiel?
yeah, in the book it was a planting scene instead of a harvest, and so the Ogier were singing to the seeds.
Right.
But
Yeah, they should have included that. That would have been fun.
yeah, but having it as a harvest scene, you have some pretty strong symbolic power in all of those scythes.
Yeah. And as I said, the golden field of wheat depicting a
Yeah.
golden age, a time of harvest, a time of plenty and joy. The Aiel singing in unison as they work. Um, a lot of powerful imagery, and ending with a very powerful image of it all, literally the sky literally falling.
Mm-hmm. It was such great effects work.
I was curious to hear your thoughts on the sky fracturing, and it seems like you enjoyed it as well.
I did. I couldn't help wondering what does it look like from the other side.
You know, I'm glad that that's all they did with that scene. That's the most effect work that they did.
Mm-hmm.
That we didn't see any like eyes like staring back out of that electric void. We didn't hear any sinister laugh or sinister voice or anything. We've talked a lot about how less is more,
Yeah.
and this was good. This was you just from the look of this breaking sky, of this hole into a whole nother realm, or it was sinister.
Yeah. And
It,
there was a sense of a presence in
yeah,
it. It's like
without having to
nothing you
see
could
anything
see,
specific.
define.
We didn't need to. We didn't need to
Mm-hmm.
see anything specific, and I felt that if they had done so, uh, would have been to the detriment of the scene. And like,
Hmm.
we don't need to see the eye of Sauron looking at
Right.
us through this hole in the sky. Just the fact that there is a hole in the sky and it's growling at us, uh, that's enough.
Hmm. It's fantastic, fantastic work there, all the way around.
Agreed. I honestly, after we're done here, I'm probably going to go back and watch it again.
Well, I've already watched it 3 times, so I'm going to move on.
uh, well, did we have any other praise, or did we have any future casting?
I did have a couple of theories.
Okay.
Clearly, they're replacing the Choedan Kal, the great big Sangreal statues,
Mm-hmm.
with Kalendor and this sphere, the Sarkanan, something like that.
Yep. Zirconium.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. It's
But not
interesting that
surprised
Moiraine
though,
nabs
because
it.
that's one less thing that they're going to have to
Hmm.
render.
Right. I do miss the giant statues. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
they were such a cool idea,
Yeah. Like,
uh,
how am I
but
going
they
to?
were kind of redundant with Kalendor.
Yeah. Well, I liked them because I saw Kalendor as powerful, super powerful. But what Rand, the task that he has isn't just powerful. He doesn't need powerful. He needs impossible.
Hmm.
And that's what the two giant statues afforded him the possibility of being
Yeah.
able to use power impossible.
So I think we're going to see Kalendor at the cleansing of the source instead of the Choden Kal.
I think they're hoping for a cool visual where he cleanses the source but causes Kalendor to shatter.
Well, that was what happened to the Choden Kal.
Mm-hmm.
That would be interesting to see what happens at the end of the story then.
Yeah, because
Hmm.
someone specific has to have Kalendor in hand.
Yep. Um, and then I'm not sure what they're going to do with Rand's romances in the show.
Yeah, yeah.
Are they brave enough to go in on the polyamory?
Well, I mean, other shows have gone in for incest, so I mean,
Yeah.
compared to that, I mean, polyamory is not really that taboo a subject.
I mean, I guess from Avienda's reaction that she's seen that she's going to fall in love with him.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but we didn't get much in the way of a romantic attachment between Rand and Elaine. And then, of course, we talked about Min. She's off doing her own thing, getting attached to Matt for some.
Because they don't know
So
what
I,
to do with Min. I'm just saying it again.
yeah. So I'm really curious as to how that's all going to fall out.
I mean, we did get some good interaction between Elaine and Rand in
Mm-hmm.
episode 2, but it was more of Elaine giving him suggestions on
Yeah, she
how
was,
to rule.
and that was right out of the beginning of the book where she was giving him advice, but at the same time they were also canoodling in corners. But she was too busy canoodling with Avienda
Avienda,
instead,
yes,
I guess.
exactly.
Well,
I
I think
think,
that about wraps it up,
yeah,
unless you had more to say.
um, he's going to have to canoodle with someone, with one of them,
Yeah.
because there is I don't know if it happens while they're at Rhuidean or later. It's supposed to happen while they're in Rhuidean, but there is a scene coming up later, which is kind of important for
Mm-hmm.
you know himself, Lanfear, and Moiraine, um, and it kind of sets the stage for what happens several books later. And but then, considering how much that takes Moiraine out of the picture, and that also would remove one of their biggest stars, Rosamund
Mm-hmm.
Pike, I could also see them not going that direction.
Yeah, and they haven't made a connection. I mean, Moraine and Tom Maryland have never met in the show.
You're right. Speaking of Tom Maryland, I predict we're going to see him again very soon because I
I
really want it, and that's all the reasoning I have. That's all my justification. I really want it. I want to see more Tom Maryland.
I did read a rumor that he had been cast in season 3. So
Good.
here's hoping.
Every once in a while, I go onto YouTube and I listen to the song he sang in season 1.
Oh, yes.
And then I immediately listen to it 8 more times.
And then you flip over to The Man They Call Jane. And then Merry Christmas from Chiron Beta 9.
I think that's going to wrap it up for this episode. Thanks for tuning in, everyone, and Doviande se toivias again.